Crunchyroll. Okay, let me do this. /DND. Okay. Hey guys, new video here. This is just an update to Cost Freeze. This will be the last video still applies, but since there's like no vault packed and things like that, I want to edit the video a little bit. So as always, we're just gonna do a map real quick. If you played this build, then you know nothing much to see here. But as always, we'll do a little gameplay first. This map is a little bit long, so you know it might be. Oh no, I don't have NPX on. Yo, restart the video. I don't have any MTX on. Are you kidding me right now? Okay, I'm not using my Gore Herald. Sorry guys, but sorry that you have to like watch this, but this is no Gore Herald. Oh boy. So this is a channel, pretty long map. I maybe shouldn't have done this, but okay. We'll just go through it. As always, it's just shield charge. When you see blues or you see a yellow like this, you just use your Cyclone. That's it. Keep the Cyclone really close to your character so you can get out of it later. It's something that I'm still trying to improve on, because sometimes when I look at chat, it like, you know, my mouse like goes out here. Also, you always want to make sure that you have numlock trick enabled, and what I mean by that is like you want to have always shift on so that when you shield charge to the edge, you're actually going to the edge. Do you guys see that lag there? And that way, no matter what, you won't like ever run and then shield charge. That's really important for survivability. Right now, if you look at my health, I've spec'd out of all the life nodes on the tree just because this is a pure farming build. It's really good for like clearing these channels and stuff, but if you're looking for something more survival, I really wouldn't play this on hardcore. It's more of a softcore build. Now, you don't need to use purities, but we'll get into all like the gems, the links, and all the swaps that are possible and what has changed after I finish this map. So this breach, you know, I don't really want to do this because this will make the YouTube video like super long, and you guys all know what breach and abyss looks like. So I'm just gonna go ahead and skip this and go over here. Also, this is kind of like the way you clear a channel with minimal backtracking, right? We're at the boss here. Boss damage here, not that great, but it gets the job done. Okay, so that's the build with Inya's. Okay, so here I'm using a Bisco's collar. I'm using an Inya's boots with 0.6 leech. I'm a trickster right now, so I don't need Elrion rings. I'm using 1 ring since I don't have a +1 curse. I don't have what's it called, Whispers of Doom on the tree. I have 1 curse, and that's a level 12 Assassin's Mark on hit. It's pretty good, and you know, a decent amount of life, a good resist on it, and a diamond ring, which is kind of important for a trickster. But we'll go into that a little bit more later as well when we compare assassin and trickster. This ring is just like some high life, and it shores up my resist so I can get capped. I don't really care about LE weakness because Headhunter makes your resist into like the 200s and something. So you can find whatever ring that will shore up your resist here. It doesn't even have to be a diamond ring if you have no money. Okay, now I'm gonna do one with Death's Door, and you'll see the difference. I'm streaming right now, and stream kind of like destroys my frames and stuff, and like Vols was causing a lot of lag. So let me show you the swap here. This is a Vols Devo. It's got +1 additional curse. I think I scammed a 12-year-old for this many moons ago, and it wasn't that expensive, but now I think it's like 10 exalts, 12 exalts. And let me show you what I replace. Inya's obviously gets replaced with Death's Door, and that allows me to, you see this is a bleeding flask. I take this off. Bleeding flask goes away, and I get to put on this flask. It's not really a Corralitos, it's a bleeding flask. So now I take off the bleeding flask because I have Death's Door, and now I have remove shock. This makes it a little bit more tanky, so Death's Door makes you overall for farming currency a little bit tanky, but not that it matters because you go so fast anyways. Other than this ring comes off. You see this? And this ring comes back on. So that's another swap right there. The ring that shores up resist gets taken off. This ring comes back on. So now I have 2 curses, right? So 1 curse is still the ring, the Assassin's Mark on hit. Assassin's Mark on hit, resist life ring. This one is a Poacher's Mark curse on hit ring. And because I have both, I get easy frenzy charges. I get my flask back up a lot faster. It feels good, feels smooth. And then Assassin's Mark, nothing needs to be said there. Vol's Devotion, it makes your damage kind of juicy because I mean, what else do I need to say, right? It's a Vol's Devotion. It like kind of doubles your damage. Now, one thing I will recommend is that you try out Death's Door and you try out Inya's. I'll run a Death's Door for you right now. Give me a second to turn on my aura again. Dude, that guy was super negative mental attitude in my chat. I had to ban him. Okay, so now we're going to do another map. Here we go. Whenever I see Desecrated Ground, I switch to this, Sola Shikari. Because then it helps with like Caustic Clouds as well. When you see Burning Ground, always switch to Abaras. Abaras, like, it makes you like super duper fast. It's kind of crazy. how that works. So always switch your Pantheons. It takes 2 seconds in town when you see the map. So remember, Burning Ground, go Abras. Desecrated Ground and like all that random stuff, you can go, what was it? I don't even know what it's called. Rislatha, Raki? I forgot who it is. That's the poison one. So it's exactly pretty much the same clear speed, right? A little bit more laggy. So as you can see, I'm not gonna pick up that chisel because I'm in a hurry. But as you can see, it's way more lag. I don't know if you guys can see it on stream, but with a Vol's Devo, the game feels like super laggy. Like there's input lag, and then once your discharge goes off, sometimes I'm not sure if my actually I guess I will pick this up. I'm not sure if my shield charge actually hits. I have to like look backwards, and that's super annoying to do. So Inya's without Vols is like way smoother, but this is more damage, and I don't know if you'll be able to see on the boss because like the map mods are different or whatever, but it's whatever. I'm not going to do that Abyss. I'm just going to clear this. See, you see how like sometimes I shield charge through, and I'll talk about my shield. It could be an accuracy issue. It could be a what's it called? It could be a crit issue, but it's just through all my testing, because it doesn't happen with Inyas and without Vols, which is less damage overall, I really think it's just input lag and the fact that I'm playing on predictive here. So this build, once you get a Headhunter, and even before you have a Headhunter, you have to play on predictive. If you can play on lockstep, it means your build is bad, and you need better gear, and you need to get more attack speed. Okay. So let's talk about the differences here, and we'll go over the changes. So this is the default, right, from last league. Default, where's my Lycosidae? Here it is. Okay, so last league, here's the default. Biscos, 2 Elrion rings if you are an assassin, which I'm not, but we'll talk about that coming up here. And you are going to use a Lycosidae so that your accuracy you don't have to worry about, right? And then obviously, you know, Cosprees, you're going to have your Vol's Protector. That's all standard, right? Death's Door, that's standard stuff. Headhunter, if you don't have this, use a rare belt. Use the new double Abyssal Jewel. That'll give you a ton of dex, which will save you a few points on the tree. This is just some really shitty Insanity Gloves. I had these on my Essence Trainer for over 2 weeks, I think. Like, I got these on like day 3, 4, really bad. But I don't really care, right? Because all I care about is the Insanity. And Mr. Duckle, thank you for the host, man. So here's what I'm using. That's the baseline. Now, what has changed? I'm using a Light Poacher, and the reason I use Light Poacher, you can't really notice it on the channel, right? Because everything's right there, where the discharge will hit it first. If you run a open layout map, you're gonna notice this Light Poacher immediately. Like, do a map without Light Poacher, do a map with Light Poacher, and this is cleanup. Sometimes you'll notice as you're charging towards a pack, a single Light Poacher ball will herald of ice the entire pack, and that pack will die before you even get there. So that's really nice as well. So I recommend playing this, but you know, you don't have to. You can still go discharge enchant. This helm cost me 1.5 exalts about a week ago. Super cheap, and you can also go 40% discharge damage. That's probably more smooth if you're just farming to get currency, but it really doesn't matter. Just get whichever one's cheaper, whichever one feels better to you. If you test one out, you don't like it, you can just sell it. So I'm using discharge not to consume charges because it's just super nice. And on assassin, if you're using an Inyas and you're always at 7 power charges, and also you have like the not consume charges, it just always gives you that +2 on assassin, that +2 base crit, which is super nice. You won't have that +2 base crit most of the time on assassin otherwise if you're if you're doing like some other weird stuff, okay? And that feels really bad. Now another thing is let's just go over the sockets, because this is like Abras or like a Namahu's, where it's only things that are inside the helm that affect it. So I'm using Controlled Destruction, right? More damage multiplier. And then we have an Ice Bite support here. And this is just like for a little bit extra damage. It's a little bit frenzy charge generation, because when I don't use Inyas, when I'm using Inyas and Abysscos, I don't have endurance charges, right? So I want to get some more ice damage in there, and it helps with the shatters, helps with a little bit extra damage, no big deal. It doesn't really matter, you can swap this out with whatever. This one's increased critical damages. You can go increase critical strikes if you want. The reason I don't put the increased crit strikes in here is because I have a Diamond Flask, okay? And I have like a lot of crit here, and you're just gonna crit all the time, okay? You have a Headhunter, Deadly is 300 crit, and I think 75 multi. So there's just no way you don't crit all the time. So you can use this if you want. And other than that, what else did I change? Oh, here we go, Lycosidae and Eshe's Mirror. Most of the time when I'm using a shield, I'm using Eshe's Mirror because it adds so much damage, and it's not just like damage to the discharge, which doesn't matter because discharge has like some really crazy flat damages, right, as a base. Like even with the 35% less when triggered, it's still massive, right? Maybe like one of the biggest base damages in the game if you don't count like monster life percentage scaling or whatever. Okay, so because Eshe's Mirror adds it to everything, so you have Herald of Ice gets like 1 billion, like 100% more multiplier most of the time. I was like, that's why like when you saw me play, I had my character sheet open and I had Herald of Ice open right here because I wanted to see, I knew what the base was, I wanted to see what it got up to on average, and it was basically like 100% more multiplier for Herald of Ice. And Herald of Ice is your main clearing tool, believe it or not. The AoE is just like a great extension to the discharge and all that good stuff. So I use Eshe's Mirror there. It also adds to the Light Poacher. So Light Poacher is purely physical, but Headhunter gives you Fizz to Elemental Conversion. It gives flat Fizz, and then with the added Lightning on top, I mean with all that crit, it's really crazy. So Eshe's Mirror, you're not going to feel the loss of accuracy. I run an Ice Golem and I run Depth Perception here, and that gives me 82, and I think 82 is fine. It's unless I use Vols in a Death Door, I never really feel like my shield charge ever like lags behind or goes through without hitting. So just be wary of that. Headhunter also gives you accuracy if you want to get that. So that's like the big changes. And the other pieces, I guess we could like just go through them once anyways for someone who's never seen the video. Discharge, Control Destruction, and now I have Ink AoE. Previously, you would use Life Leech in here because Reflect with Vol Pact, it would be really deadly so when you were shield charging. So, but now Reflect is gone on the monsters at least, and you don't run Reflect maps. So this used to be Life Leech. You put in Control Destruction, a huge more multiplier there. You don't need the crit. If I open this up and you look at the Discharge, where's the crit shot? 48.3 before power charges. That after a Diamond Flask is like what's the base? 7, and I get like 6, 7 power. It's pretty much crit capped. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the spell damages or the loss of crit from here. And that's about it. Ink AoE, Control Destruction, Discharge. In here, here's where you have some options as well. So shield charge, Fortify is, you know, if you're softcore, you actually don't need this. I might try taking out Fortify and putting in increased AoE, but I just like Fortify because it's like a less damage multiplier to yourself, right? Faster attacks, nothing to say there. And it's in Insanity Gloves because, you know, 16% more. And that affects like everything, even stuff you have on your tree. And then I have increased critical strikes because the critical strike chance of shield charge is 32, right? I want to get that, like, you know, with power charges, with a Diamond Flask, it's still pretty damn good. But you want to get that a little bit high. So I put increased crit. But remember, you can swap out Fortify for Ink AoE. If you run open layout maps, this will make your shield charging smoother. You'll have to like aim a tiny bit less, which is a quality of life. So nothing to say there. Gloves, get life, get double resist. Belt is Headhunter. If you don't have Headhunter, once again, use the double socket Abyssal Belt or use a rare belt that shorts up your resist, whatever you want. It doesn't actually matter. In the boots, okay, so here's one change from last time. Because you lose 4 sockets, right? Like this used to be like your cast when damage setup, and maybe you put a golem in there or whatever else. You lost 4 sockets to a damaging skill, essentially in Light Poacher. So because of that, you gotta get a little bit creative with your boot slot here. So I have Ice Bite, Onslaught, Herald of Ice, increased area of effect, right? So increased area of effect is just so the Ice Bite, or sorry, the Herald of Ice hits more, and the Onslaught, you know, I don't have a Silver Flask, so that's self-explanatory. Ice Bite, once again, just for a little bit of Frenzy Charge generation and for a little bit of extra damage, but you can switch this out for anything. If you don't have like the Curse Rings, right, and you don't want to use this helmet, you can very easily go Herald of Ice, you can go Onslaught, Curse on hit, and then Poacher's Mark. That's really good too. That's like the old setup. And maybe you put like a, cast when damage taken on your shield, right? Cast when damage taken level 1, Warlord's Mark level 5, Immortal Call level 3 on your shield. And then in the helm, you can go like increased duration Vol Haste, which will make your Vol Haste a lot smoother, right? So right now I have Vol Haste and Summon Ice Golem and then regular haste. Now I don't have an increased duration here because I literally cannot fit my Summon Ice Golem, or I can't fit a red here unless I move Summon Ice Golem into Ice Bite. I'm not willing to do that. And so that's like the slots there, but play around with it. You don't need purities anymore. Purities are gone because once again there's no reflect, so you don't need max res, you don't need a +1 max resist amulet, so get rid of your purities. Go with haste. Well, here's what I'll say. Go with Herald of Ice for sure, 100%. That's going to help your cleanup and your AoE. and then go with whatever you want in here. Vol Haste and whatever 2 things you want. Ice. If you're using Lycoste, you don't need Ice Golem. If you're using Lycoste, use a 2120 Lightning Golem. If your mana is a little bit iffy, get this node right here. Where is it? Minion life regen, 1.5 life per second. That'll keep your, unless it's like some crazy damage mod or like a Desecrated Ground where you're super slow and like really bad at the game, your minion's not going to die. So just get this node to save your minions if you want, okay? And then we've gone over that. Oh, chest, Cyclone, and Discharge, cast on, increase crits, cast on crit. Those are like the 4 essential ones, okay? And then the other 2 that you can play around with are Conk Effect. Conk Effect is good damages. And this one still needs testing. I like Firestorm just because I've always used Firestorm. You don't have to. You can do Power Charge and crit. You can do Blade Vortex. You can do anything you want, really. I use Firestorm because it peppers like a relatively large area, and when there's a lot of mobs and you're critting a lot, this is good for power charge generation. And then this, of course, you know, lots of instances of power charge generation coupled with an Inya's Boots is just like ridiculous. You'll see situations where you shield charge 1 mob, okay, you'll discharge and you'll have 7 stacks, or you cyclone like 2 mobs and you're always at 7 stacks. It's like really insane. And also on the boss, you'll see on the boss, sometimes Inya's looks like more damage than Vol's Devo and Death's Door because you're always at 7. It's like so much smoother. And so that's one thing to consider. Flasks, okay, if you're going like the safe route, right? If you're using Death's Door, it's Chemist Diamond Flask or any Diamond Flask of grounding, then you're going to want probably a Sulfur Flask and a Alchemist Quicksilver Flask of Adrenaline, and then also a Dying Sun and a Vinctar. You guys solve your freeze, so you get your freeze immunity here. You can like swap it around if you don't care about like shock. You don't care about shocking yourself with Vinctars. And you know, sometimes I don't even think Vinctars is necessary, but 10% pen is like a lot of damage. So get the penetration Vinctars. So this is like either get shock removal if you're like, you know, worried about dying, or if you want to go full YOLO farming and you want to put on an Inya's and you don't want to put bleed on your Quicksilver because that makes you really slow, then just shock yourself. It's totally fine, man. It's totally fine. I hope you're recording. Yeah, this is a recording for the YouTube video. Okay, so that's what you can do there. Other than that, there's not much to it. It's the same build as last time. So once again, swaps are you're either going Vol's Devotion, okay, and Death's Door, or okay, and if you're gonna go Death's Door, you gotta get this endurance charge. I wasn't getting this endurance charge right here because I'm an idiot because I was using Inya's, right? But Vol's Devotion, Death's Door, or you go Bisco's, Inya's, or if you want even more damages and you don't care about like the bleed solving here, just go Inya's and Vol's Devotion. If you want to go full potato, okay, that's pretty crazy too. But I recommend Inya's and Bisco's, because Bisco's, if you do the exclamation mark Bisco's command in my chat, you can see Bisco's is broken item. It gives you a lot of monies for how much you play. Okay, let's talk about Trickster versus Assassin, right? Because these rings are only possible. You can only wear these 2 rings. First, if you're a Trickster, and second of all, if you have a +1 amulet. So if you don't have a +1 amulet for curses, then you can't wear these. But Assassin gets like 100% more crit chance on enemies on full life. So you crit off the bat more often, and then you also get 100% more on low life enemies. So it's really crazy, and you get a cull, which is noticeable. Trust me on that. So that's really nice. You get more crit multi, base crit. I guess if you can stay at full power charges, maybe, but that's not really that big a deal. So Assassin is like just a lot more secure. You don't have to worry about as much, and like once you put on your Lycoste, you know, you're just cleaning up. It's really easy mode. Trickster is if you don't want to use Elrion rings, because Elrion rings they really suck. Okay, let's be honest here. Elrion rings are just like complete garbage. They're a pain to buy. They're a pain to craft. Using them feels like you're gimping your character, but I mean, Assassin has to use them. On a Trickster, you don't have to, right? Trickster gets this. Cyclone and Shield Charge are free, right? You go really fast, and Trickster has way more attack speed, like an unnatural amount of attack speed. more than assassin. So if you want to go faster overall, you go trickster, and then you can like use like you can use some pretty insane rings. Okay, these are the ones I was like skimazzing. I actually had better ones, but I sold them because it was like such a skimass. And these were like fine for now since it was just a farming character. The extra life, extra resist, and dexterity sometimes on some other ones, it wasn't worth keeping for me because it was like, you know, why? I'm just using this for farming. It doesn't make me any faster. So these two rings are really crazy. You can even get 12 poachers, I think. But if you get poacher's mark, assassin mark on your rings, like just, oh boy, think about how crazy that is for a second for trickster. Okay. And so that's why I went with these rings. If you don't have those rings, I think I have some here, but just try to get like diamond Elrions, and that's it. And yeah, that's about it. Trickster is faster. It's freedom with the rings if you have more monies. Assassin is way more secure, like just way more. If your internet's like bad, if you like lag and stuff, you might want to just go assassin. I was thinking about going back to assassin to test it out, but overall my recommendation is Inya's, Biscos, if you can get it, right? That's it. Light poacher, yeah, why not if you can get the enchant. That's about it. And yeah, it's a good farming character. It's fun, but yeah, it's an okay build. All right, if you have more questions, you can ask in the I guess the comments below and stuff. I'll try to get back to you. All right, video is over. Did I cover everything? Yo, did I cover everything? Nope, it's not over. Skill tree. Okay, sorry guys. Before, Volpact was right here. Okay, so you used to go 1, 2, 3, and then like I think Volpact was right here. Maybe it was like 4, and then Volpact was right here. Okay, this is like the skill tree is the same. Just the skill tree is exactly the same. Just don't take the Volpact here. That's it. That's literally it. Okay, and you can play around with it as you like. Okay, that's it. Jewels? No, jewels are the same as the last video. It doesn't matter. It's just like get crit multi and damages and attack speed if you want. This is the exact same thing as the last video. Like, everything else is exactly the same. No quality on